Long way, get this shit a long way, this shit a long way. Long way, hit the long way, 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 shit, long way, 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 shit a long way. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a long way, finish rich, gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta get a meal, but she don't understand. She be tripping every day, she be tripping every way. But I gotta get this shit a long way, tryna get money every single way, tryna get money every single day, get money every single way, every day. Every day we gotta get paid, every day we gotta get paid, I'm feeling like we be the new slave. No, we gotta finish rich, no, we gotta finish rich. Got a new bitch, she don't understand rich. She don't understand, she's gotta get rich. She don't understand, sometimes we gotta hit lit. No, we ain't hit lit, tryna get the long way, tryna get this shit the long way. Coach is tryna wrap up a entree. Told you the other day that did my phone show. We gon' shoot the long way, we gon' get the long way. Get the shit the long way. My bitch be trippin' back and forth like a phone way. My name is Tari, I ain't playing games, just a little Tari. Yesterday she told me that she about to leave, man. Said fuck it, bitch, we gonna get some money. Said fuck it, bitch, I'm about to get some money. So what I do today, I want to get some money. We gon' get this shit the long way, we gon' get shit the long way, back and forth like the pong way, man, I'ma get this shit the long way, get this shit the long way, just the only way today, because they go with shit's crazy, you gotta wear a mask, we the new slaves, and we be wearing this shit like every day, we be okay, we gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, for so we gon' get this shit the long way, we gon' get this shit the long way, we gon' get this shit the long way, we get shit the long way, cause we gon' be okay, we gon' be okay, we gon' get the long way,
Hello everyone, hello, welcome to another edition of Savings Minus Debt. I'm your host, LJ Young, the founder of SMD. Welcome. Especially you newcomers, welcome. Just a second, let me clear this out. Welcome. What's up, Aaron? Aaron's always the first one. And you know what's so crazy? Aaron lives in another country, and he's always first. Ain't that bananas? He lives in the UK, and he's always first. Bananas, right? Anyway, thank you for joining, Aaron. Appreciate you. Again, I'm LJ Young, the founder of SMD. And I am here to share a gift. I have the ability to see negative numbers psychologically. All right. And then if you're new to the channel, I always do this so you can understand what I mean. If you believe you're a homeowner with a 30-year mortgage, open up your calculator, put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, and then hit equal. As you're looking at the calculator, I just want you to listen to the sound of my voice. The reason why you believe you're a homeowner is because you cannot see negative numbers psychologically. That's my gift. I can see negative numbers psychologically. You can't. You can see negative numbers physically because we are basically both looking at the calculator now, and we both see it's a large negative number. We can clearly see that on the calculator. All right. And the people that cannot see negative numbers psychologically, they're called debt slaves. And debt slaves live in what's called the debt matrix. And the debt matrix is a place created by the banks. It's a psychological place. It's not a physical place you can go to. You can only go there psychologically. This is the place where you can buy and own things with no money of your own. You can buy a house with no money. You can buy a car with no money. The best of cars, BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, drop tops, whatever. You can buy any kind of car you want with no money of your own. That's what people in the debt matrix, that's what they do. They finance things that go down in value, compound negative interest. Debt slaves don't know Compound interest compound interest compounds both positively and negatively. Okay. When you're paying interest on car payments, your money's compounding negatively. You're earning compound negative interest. The payments that you're paying to, who is the bank, they are getting the money. They're getting the payments from you, and their money is compounding positively because it's coming from you. You understand? That's how it works. That's just business, nothing personal. Now that was me. That was me. I was from age 18 to about 40. I followed everything in the debt matrix. Good credit score, six-figure earner, uh, great career job, whatever. Right. The six-figure earner part, I learned that later. That I realized a lot of people don't make six figures. That kind of shocked me. The percent when I saw the percentage rate of people that actually earn six figures in their lifetime is very, very low. And I achieved that, but I didn't really understand the significance of it. Okay. I didn't really understand that. I just set that in my mind that I was going to do it, and I did it. Anyway, my point in bringing it up is that, have you noticed, like, when you're in all the other chat rooms, they always talk about six-figure earner people because you guys believe that's a lot of money. That's why everybody always talk about, hey, earn six figures, do this. If you want to ever become earning six figures, that's why that's thrown around there, because that's the sweet spot for you guys. You guys believe that's a lot of money, and you get there, you have achieved something. So anyway, I got there and I realized something was wrong. I was like, now what? I got six figures and I work at a good job. I'm college educated, bloggity, blah, blah, blah. But I got there, and the feeling that I thought I was supposed to feel, because when you're in the debt matrix, and if you never earn six figures, you believe in your mind that when you do, something's going to happen, but it's not. So anyway, long story short is that I got there, but I was in debt. Everything around me I didn't own. I didn't own the house I was in, the car I was driving. I had multiple credit cards, all maxed out, high limits, bragging on the high limits of something that wasn't mine. All maxed out, everything, but I had good credit. Then I came across Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey basically says, take the math that we all learned in elementary school, apply it to your finances using these baby steps. And that's what I did. And I freed myself, paid off all my debt, took every check I earned, paid off all my debt. Now, it wasn't until I got to zero that I realized I was a debt slave. You got to remember, the whole time I'm not thinking I'm a debt slave, because I was earning six figures and I was college educated, and I had a great job until I got to zero debt. And I said, wait a minute, you mean my whole life was imaginary? Sure was. I was in the negative. I owned nothing. And I didn't realize that until I got to zero. Once I got to zero, my whole world changed. Everything changed. And I said, wait a minute. There are millions of people that think the way I used to think. Yes. And guess what else? It has to be that way. It's called psychological capitalism. It's all a choice. You can either choose to stay in debt or you choose not to. But if you don't want to stay in debt, you just believe the calculator every single time you do a financial transaction. Open up the calculator and add it up. If it's in the negative, that's not the deal for you. Now I'm free. Now what I'm starting to do, I'm starting to change people's lives forever. The rate is starting to speed up now. I'm noticing I'm changing people's lives a little bit quicker than I used to. I notice that it's speeding up right now. Now, now that I gave you the premise of my gift, what I'm gonna share with you, I'm gonna show you guys something that, as you can see the title of this video, I'm gonna tell you in a way about this, and of course, it's just my opinion, my mathematical opinion. Okay, remember that this is just my mathematical opinion. Okay, this Navient canceling $1.7 billion in student loan debt. Now, debt slaves, you guys are so desperate right now to scramble. You guys are scrambling, trying. What can you do to get out of this student loan debt? You guys are just grasping for anything. The president, please reduce it, take off 10, 50, whatever. You guys will take anything trying to figure out how can you get from under it. I'm just here to tell you there's only one way you're going to ever be able to do it. You have to pay it off yourself. You have to work, take the money, take your check, and then you hand your check to the student loan place, Navient or whoever's servicing your loan. You got to go work, take your check. You're just the middleman. You're going to be like that for a very long time, and you hand it straight to them. That's the only way you're going to get out, ever. Now, when you read, you guys just see the title and say, "Oh my God, $1.7 billion in student loan debt." You guys don't know to pay attention to certain things. When you read that, you got to read it very slowly. 1.7 billion, and then you got to take a step back and say to yourself, "Isn't student loan debt in the trillions?" Yeah, that's with a T. On the article, it starts with a B. And then you got to say, "Wait a minute, which one's bigger, trillion or billion?" Trillion's bigger. Okay, remember that. So that means it's smaller than what you believe. But since you see the billion, you guys you don't pay attention to that. And then you look. Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you for asking, Dominique. And then you look at the amount of people that is going to be affected. 66,000, 60,000, 66,000, somewhere around there, 60 or 66,000. Let me see. 66,000. I can look at it right here. 66,000 people. And then you got to take a step back. So you got to make sure you look at it right. Wait a minute. Aren't millions of people in student loan debt? Yeah. Trillions of dollars and millions of people. Isn't millions plural more than 66,000? Yeah, it's a lot more. Yeah. Yeah. Then you just do a calculation, say, find out what I think it's like 44 million people in student loan debt, right? You just do the calculation. And what's the percentage of 66,000 out of 44 million, and then hit enter. And then the calculator is going to give you a percentage of people who they're talking about. Do you understand? It's not what you think. What you guys don't understand, what this really is. This is in the bigger, in my opinion, in the bigger scheme of things. This is what really is. Navient got greedy. They start breaking the rules. You don't have to steal from debt slaves. You guys are giving away money. You guys don't even know you have no money at all. There's no reason to take even more from you. And so they had to get they had to get punished. They had to get spanked. Hey, don't overdo it, because you get too greedy, the debt slaves are going to wake up and they're going to be like, "Hey, wait a minute. There's no way out of this debt, and you trying to bury me deeper and deeper." If somebody wakes up from that, that cannot happen. Okay, that can't happen. So they probably, in my opinion, they got spanks, because as I read through the article some more, it says it's 1.7 billion, and then you read further down, it says something like, "Yeah, but 95 million." They struck some kind of deal where they pay out 95 million of it in the form of $260 checks. Okay, some of these people are going to get $260 checks. You think they're going to put the $260 back on their student loan debt? No, they're going to spend it. They're going to spend it. They're not going to pay off student loan debt. They're going to spend it. $260 checks towards some kind of part of their loan or whatever. If it ain't all of it, it don't matter. Hmm. And all you guys do is you guys mostly just read the title. "Oh my God, 1.7 billion. I sure hope it's mine. I sure hope it's mine. I sure hope they wipe out." Not even, they're only talking about like private loans. They're not even talking about the majority of what you guys have student loan debt, borrowed money from the federal government. They're talking about like private loans and 66,000 people, and 95 million of the 1.7 billion is going to be distributed out in $260 checks. Oh, that means nobody's going to pay part of that $260. If that's part of the student loan debt, to pay back some of it, to reimburse, cancel some $260 of it, that doesn't matter, because it's going to stay there. They're going to spend that money. They're gonna get that back because if they can't even afford to pay off the rest of the loan, of course the interest is gonna stack up and they're gonna get back that $260 a piece probably in a year in interest. I sure hope the definition of cancel, I mean, I'm gonna just tell you this. It would be absolutely brilliant if they did this, right? And this is just my opinion. In their definition of cancel, what if their definition of cancel was to send out and this is just made up, okay? And it seems very awkward to do, but I'm just saying, okay? What if they said, "Hey, our cancel department is separate from this other department. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna send you guys all out the checks. Like so if we have to cancel your $50,000 in student loan debt, right? We're gonna send a check to you, a $50,000 check to you, and then you are supposed to take that check and pay off your student loan debt." You know how many would never ever do that? If they were smart, they would do that. Send it to them in the form of a check, because I mean, I don't know if that's even legal. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm just saying out loud. But if they could send it out in the form of a check, satisfying the judge's ruling or whatever, and say, "Hey, yeah, well, you say cancel us, so we decided to cancel it by sending them their money in a check and leave it up to them to turn around, take that money, and then pay off the student loan debt." In one of the worst times in history, that would be absolutely brilliant, honestly. But when you guys see that, man, you know how many times I saw when I saw Navient was canceling, do you know how much you know how fast that floated around the internet? I had about 10 people tell me about it, and then I saw it come across my timeline on Instagram and all this other stuff. It's just, oh my God, you guys are just crossing your fingers, thinking, hoping it's yours. It's not. No, you guys don't want to. I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm gonna tell you because you're choosing it. Okay. And you're choosing it by not trusting the calculator. I'm just here to tell you something. Okay. If you don't pay off that student loan debt, you can never understand what I'm telling you. You can never feel what I'm trying to describe to you because you will never be able to have owned yourself before. If you're listening to this and you really just think about, have you ever not been in debt in your whole entire life? I mean, never like owed anybody nothing. Now you're probably thinking, the only way to do that, you have to be rich. That is not true, okay? That's part of the program. You don't have to be rich to own yourself. All you gotta do is get to 0. If you have 100, listen, just say like your student loan debt was your only debt. Out of all your debt, all your car payments, credit cards, all of that stuff was gone. Your only payment, I'm not talking about your living expenses. I'm just talking about your payment on a debt, which is the student loan debt. Okay. Say like your student loan debt was $100,000. In order for you to ever own yourself and understand what I'm telling you, you have to pay $100,000 to ever understand what I'm telling you. $100,000 is how much it's going to cost you to own yourself. $100,000 to where you see articles like this, you know exactly who they're for. They're for debt slaves and student loan debt. When you're not in student loan debt, you pay your student loan debt off. I promise you, you're not going to care what they're talking about. Eliminating student loan debt, who canceled what, you won't care because it will be none of your business anymore. Who cares? You see that big number canceling out, and you don't even read the article. You guys don't even read into the detail. They know that. They know you guys don't actually read the entire articles. You just see the title where they put you in where they put it in big bold letters, big numbers, the word billion. You guys don't even understand million, the words million billion, trillion. Those are just words. Do you guys understand it? It's just words. They write it down on the piece. Hey, what does $1 trillion look like? And then you write down some numbers, and the translation turns into one comma zero zeros and a whole bunch of zeros. And you guys think, and then you guys equate that to money when you're in a negative. The majority, put it this way, the majority of you guys in student loan debt, you will never understand a million because you can't. Because you don't know, in order to get to a million, you must start at zero. That's what the laws of mathematics say. You must start at zero first before you can get to a million. They taught us all this in grade school, all of us, about positive and negative numbers. These numbers apply to money. Without these numbers, there would be no way for you to be able to count money. How can you count money? You need what? Math. Try to count money without using math. You can't. That's impossible. But millions of you guys do it every single day because you're in student loan debt. That's how they create debt slaves. That's why you can't bankrupt it. What do you think that is? They told you that before you borrowed the money. They said, "Hey, you can't bankrupt this money if you take it from us." It's in the paperwork, I promise. It's in there. I was in student loan debt for 10 years. It wasn't their fault. It was my fault for being it. It was my fault for going to college for 4 years and keep my student loan for 10. That's my fault. If I didn't free myself, I would have been just like you guys, seeing a title like that. Oh my God, 1.7 billion. Ooh, I hope they get mine. Not even reading nothing, just crossing your fingers, not paying attention to the B, not paying attention to they're talking about only 66,000 out of millions of people. That's like the lottery. Do you understand? Even the people that get lucky to get the $260 check, is $260 going to pay off their entire loan? No, then who cares what they get? It doesn't matter. You think they're going to put that $260 on their student loan debt in the middle of an economy like this one? No, of course not. They're going to get that. They're going to get that 260 back in interest probably in 1 year. You understand? This is just. It's a masterpiece. You guys don't even understand. It's a masterpiece. How they do it is brilliant. You guys pay attention to nothing because you are in debt. Millions of you guys don't know you can't own a house with a mortgage. You're not supposed to have student loan debt older than your mortgage, than your subprime mortgage. You're not supposed to do that. Do you understand? Millions of you don't. Millions. How do I know this? Because there's trillions of dollars in mortgage loan debt. Trillions, just like student loan debt. You guys are all the same. Everything's with a T. Credit card debt, car loan debt, everything begins with a T. Trillions. Why do you think that is? Because you guys are all doing the same thing. And hey, listen, and it's supposed to be that way. You guys are supposed to believe your homeowners with mortgages. You know why? Because the housing market couldn't exist without you. It could not exist without you. It could not exist. Nor could credit card debt, car loan debt, none of that. None of that could exist without you. You if you guys understood what I know, car lots would close. All of them. It won't matter if it's a Tesla, Ford. I don't care if they've been around 500 years. It won't matter. You know why? Because people that understand we don't finance depreciating objects with interest. We don't do that. Finance a depreciating object with interest and taxes at an interest based on our gross income. We don't do that. That's financial suicide. You don't really get that. You don't understand that it's financial suicide. If you're one of the people in the student loan forgiveness programs and all this, you don't understand. Like when you go in, you put yourself in a student loan forgiveness program, y- you have completely given up on ever owning your life ever. I will work where you tell me to work for 10 years of my life, and I'll accept the pay that you give me, even though in deep inside, I know I could probably earn more out in the private sector, but I don't feel like I'm so bad that I don't feel like I can pay off my student loan debt in 10 years. You feel bad about yourself. If you believe that, whatever, hey, listen, whatever the amount of your student loan debt is, let me just tell you something. If you don't believe you can make that amount of money in 10 years of your life, that's a problem. That's a ginormous red flag. Say like your student loan debt's 100,000, right? And you win the student loan forgiveness program, they promise you they don't really even promise you. They just say maybe. They don't even, that's not even a guarantee. But anyway, you say, "Okay, I'll give you, this is what you're saying, okay? I will give you 10 years of my life with no promise at the end that you guys will pay off my student loan debt. No promise at all. And I will work at the rate that you tell me to during those years. All because I don't believe in myself that I could pay off $100,000 out of 10 years of my life. Think about it. And you want to become this is what you guys don't really this is how you don't look at it, okay? The majority of you guys want to be millionaires, right? You guys do. But the majority of you don't believe you can even make $100,000 in 10 years of your life. You want to be a millionaire, but you don't believe in yourself that you can make $100,000 in the 10 years of your life. That you're not, no, you can't be, you cannot listen. You cannot become a millionaire, a true millionaire. Okay. You guys, I know you guys got this insane type of image that TV shows you what a millionaire looks like. Or money doesn't look like anything. Okay, I'm just here to tell you right now, just believe what I'm saying. Money doesn't look like a Ferrari. It doesn't look like a gold chain. It doesn't look like diamonds. It doesn't look like anything. It looks like anything you want it to look like. I'm just here to tell you that. It can look like anything you want. You guys see millionaires that listen, you guys don't know to ask these questions, but there are people with money that look like they got money. They're popular channels, and this is all you guys got to do. This is all you guys got to do. I'm gonna give you some gems to ask your favorite podcaster. They might got millions and hundreds of thousands of followers. This all I want you to do is you say, "Hey man, you got your student loan debt? You still have student loan debt?" If they say yes, okay, this is what I want. These are the moments you want to take a step back and you say, "Wait a minute. They look like they're making all this money. What are they doing with student loan debt?" That's a red flag. People with money don't have student loan debt. I'm just here to tell you something. You can listen to me. You can believe it. You cannot believe it. But people with money don't have student loan debt and don't keep student loan debt for 10 and 20 years. We don't do that. That's dumb. Because mathematically, if you have student loan debt, you have no money. So if you ask one of your people and they say yes, I'm here to tell you that's a red flag to tell you that they really don't have no money. What you're seeing is credit. It's a credit world. Everything you see is borrowed money. Because if it was real, they wouldn't have student loan debt. It doesn't matter how they feel about it, doesn't matter what they think. Then you turn to them and say, "Hey, how long have you had that student loan debt? How long you been on the internet? You got how many followers? You see what I'm saying? Those are gems. These are gems that you guys are not gonna you guys are not gonna get these anywhere else because you must first own yourself to understand what I'm talking about. The only way you're gonna get out of student loan debt is you have to work and you have to pay it off. There is no other way. Nobody's gonna save you. They're not gonna release that many of you debt slaves. They're not. That would hurt the economy. Listen, canceling student loan debt would hurt the economy. That would hurt the economy. It wouldn't. I know you guys think it would be a good thing because you're thinking about yourselves. And I understand. I do understand why you're like, "Ooh, I wish they just cancel student loan debt, $1.85 trillion of it." And you guys don't even know how fast right now how fast student loan debt is climbing right now because you guys are so focused about getting rid of the debt you have now, student loan debt. You guys don't understand how fast it's climbing right now in the background. All you got to do is just pay attention about how many online colleges are popping up all over the place. I mean, you barely even understand the names. Sesame Street University. We're accredited, and this. Hey, we can get this is what the thing. We can get your degree in 2 years, not 4 years. We can get your degree in 9 months. Now they're doing speedy degrees. So wait a minute. You mean to tell me you took a 4-year degree and you squeezed it down to 9 months? Oh, but for the same price. Yeah, for the same price. Oh, yeah, we squeezed it from 4 years to 9 months. You guys didn't squeeze the price down, though. Nope, sure didn't. No. Mm-mm. That has nothing to do with that. And they know all you guys are just focused on your degree because you believe if you have this piece of paper, you're gonna be making more money. Who told you that? The TV. TV. TV's telling you that, hey man, you ain't shit with a college degree and good credit, and you guys believe it. And when here's one of those moments, and you got to take a step back. You're like, wait a minute, what if I just think I'm the shit? Who you mean to tell me if I don't have a good credit score, that means I ain't shit? Yep, that's what they said on TV. You mean if I don't get a college degree, I'm not gonna make as much money as than a high school. You know, they put all these stupid numbers up, and if you believe it, you just believe it. You say, "Yep." But you guys don't understand. You guys are in debt. You have no money, none. You got no currency exists for you, so you don't know. You have no choice but to get student loan debt. If you decide to believe the TV and say, "I need college to be somebody" or something like that, or whatever, right? And you do it, and you have no money. Of course, you have to get student loan debt. You have no money. All you gotta do is take a step back and say, "No, I think I can be something without a college degree. I believe in myself enough to do that. I don't need that piece of paper to tell me what I can and cannot be. I'll do it myself." Sure did. I mean, when I found out the percentage rate of people that actually make six figures, I saw that was a very low number. I was surprised at myself. I th- I th- I honestly, I thank God nobody told me I didn't know that statistic when that was my goal on my mind because I just thought, "Hey, I wanna make 6 figures and I'm gonna do it," and I just put it in my brain. Had had that number been placed, "Hey, only 5% actually make 6 figures," that probably woulda entered a psychological blocking into my brain like, "Oh my god, you must if it's only 5%, that means only the very, very smart people can do it." No, 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 stop. Hold up, time out. That's all part of the program. You can do and be anything you want, anything. First, you gotta stop begging. Stop begging for somebody outside of you to free you from student loan debt. You have to stop. First, you have to stop begging. Only slaves beg. Slaves beg. They know the only way you're gonna get out of student loan debt, you have to pay it off. So stop begging. And you got to go to the mirror and say this to yourself. You got to go to the mirror and say, I need to stop begging. I'm the only one that can do this. The only one. How do I know this? LJ said he did it. LJ said he did it. I did it. I had to pay it off. You guys don't understand the pain. Listen, the pain that you feel from paying the student loan debt off is part of the process. It's there to remind you to never ever do such a thing again. It's there to remind you when you have children to never do that. Don't ever do that. Don't ever take out student loans and keep them your entire life. I'm not against student loan debt. I'm just saying don't keep them your entire life. You go to college for 4 years, you take 4 years. You saying said like this: I went to college for 4 years. I'm taking 4 years of my life to pay it back. I went to college to be a doctor for 12 years, whatever. Give yourself 12 years to pay it back. I don't care, as long as you don't go over the amount of time that you went to school. You give yourself maximum. That's like, and when I say 4 years, I mean 4 years is the maximum, not a day over. So you could feel that at least you kind of broke even. You're not going to break even because you got to pay interest, but I'm just saying you won't be carrying them your entire life. So, what's up, Robert? Omanique? What's up, Lee? We say the car no balance and the cost of the car are not the same. All I heard was monthly number. It's crazy with car. I mean, car loans, finance and depreciating objects with interest and taxes based on your gross income. Just all kind of upside down, all kinds of upside down, all because you have student loan debt. The reason why you're making car payments is because you have student loan debt. That's why you make if you didn't have student loan debt, you wouldn't be making car payments. I promise you that. Promise you. 45 million is going to be nothing in 5 years. No. That's why I'm trying to leave numbers out. I mean, unless I talk about a specific topic like this, I try to leave numbers and years out of the videos because that will allow my videos to last longer, to be relevant longer into the future. If I just say millions of people, like instead of saying like, oh man, there's $1.85 trillion in student loan debt. Instead of me saying that, I'll say something like this: millions of people are in student loan debt. Saying that will always be true. There will always be millions of people in student loan debt because they're never going to cancel it. So there will always be millions of people in student loan debt. That's a fact. Millions of people in car loan debt. It doesn't matter if the car is gas or electric. They'll still be in car loan debt. It won't mean anything. And then they'll be like, man, he said this back in 2022 and it's still relevant here 20, 30, 40, 50 years later. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up here. Imagine if LJ was working in the Federal Reserve. I hoped one day they do call me up and have me come on in and say, "Hey, LJ, you made it this far. We're gonna go ahead and connect the rest of the dots for you. Here you go. Look, since you clearly," and I'm telling you, you guys think I'm joking, but it doesn't really matter. But once they understand that I know that capitalism is psychological, one day the right person is gonna hear it. And they're like, "Oh shit, he knows." They're gonna tap me on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, okay, we're gonna go ahead and connect the rest of the dots for you." That's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting for somebody that knows to come up and start connecting the rest. Now, it's got to come slowly because it gets really deep. Okay. And you have to go slow, especially coming out of the debt matrix, being in there all your life. Because you got to remember, I'm 52. I've been in the debt matrix for a very long time, very long time. I didn't wake up to I didn't start waking up to around age 40. So from age 18 to 40, I was just a regular old debt slave, financing stuff and thinking I owned stuff. And then I started to wake up and said, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong. Got out of debt, paid that student loan debt off. I said, oh, that was wrong. I didn't own myself. The business of me. I got $1,000 left on my student loan. Then I'm debt free. My next paycheck will be free. Oh man, that's an awesome feeling right there. Oh my God. I remember that when I paid my last of my student loan debt. I was so excited to get that next check. You know why? Because I had no more debt. And when I got it, it just sat there. And I just looked at it. Because first I had to get used to payments, not seeing my check go in and immediately start doing electronic payments out. This time I didn't have to do that. It was just, oh man, it was an amazing feeling. Oh, Omanika said I had mine for 18 years. Whew. Mm. Elove, welcome gift for your new inflated interest rate. Yeah, exactly. Who gives an 18-year-old a hey, that's what they do. That's I mean, you guys, when you got one thing you got to understand this. Once you understand capitalism is psychological, you are going to start erasing the feelings of giving 18-year-old six-figure money without telling them anything. You guys are going to let that go because you're going to understand that's part of the psychological. It just is. It has to be that way. It has to start young. I mean, once I'm out, stepping out other side, looking in, and take my feelings out of it, and I just look and say, okay, it has to be that way. They have to. You have to get them young. They've been trained through school. Hey, you go to school Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sundays are off. We got holidays off. It's no school on holiday. They get you trained for how it's going to be at work. You get a job. You're going to be off on Christmas, Saturday and Sunday or weekends. It's the same thing. It's just a program. It's not really a big. Hey man, it's clear. It's a program. And so when you see that, oh, they just the 18-year-old kids. They don't know. Well, hey, whose job was that to tell them? Their parents. And if their parents didn't tell them, that means their parents didn't know. This is just it's a psychological thing. That's how it works. And anybody, this is the wonderful thing about psychological capitalism. Anybody can change. You can change your tree. You can change your way of looking at because when you can change it, all you got to do is just trust the calculator. Just say, hey, when I put the numbers, when I finance a car and put these numbers in my calculator, it just doesn't add up right. No, it doesn't. You know it goes down in value, but you're gonna pay more for it over 7 years of your life? From the day you finance a car, it's going down from there. It's never going up. It's because as soon as you it's driven, and everybody knows that it's going down at that moment. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it's going down. But you paying for 84 months, it's going up for the bank, for you paying the bank in interest. You're welcome. May as well find at Harvard on the Hill Community College. Sure, but I mean, and you also got to. I mean, you see Elon Musk. You guys got to really. You got to break the way of thinking. Like you need college to be somebody. You really got to break that. That's a program. Now I'm saying if you want to be a doctor, of course you got to go to college. Of course, some kind of surgeon, some doctor, something. Yes, but and I'm gonna tell you this, okay? If you want to be the best doctor in the and listen, and probably in the United States of America, and this is really your your quest in life. Make sure you pay off your student loan debt. If you need a student loan debt to achieve this to be a doctor, right? And you love it, as soon as you're done with residency and all this other stuff, you continue to live the way you've been living while in residency until you pay off all your student loan debt, every single penny. You don't upgrade in nothing. House, you don't care what people say. Hey, didn't you become a doctor? Yep. How come you don't have this? Because I don't want to. You stay there until you pay off every single penny. I promise you. Listen, I promise you this. Pay off your student loan debt. You and you already love it too. On top of that, you'll be the best doctor in the United States of America. And then any hospital you walk into, they will know it. And they will pay you what you walk in and say, hey, I'm this, I specialize in that. And they're gonna say, hey, here's the pay scale for what we pay our doctors. You're gonna be like, I don't care about that pay scale. I'm walking in telling you what I demand. Oh, we only pay them $300,000 a year. I don't care what you pay them. This is what I want. I want 500,000. These are the hours I'm going to work. I'm not going to be on call whenever. Wouldn't know how much you're going to sit down at the table. You say, okay, how much are you paying me? All right. Cool, cool. And how much of the hours in my life are you expecting to pay me for of this? You're going to specify the hours inside of the contract. We're going to pay you $500,000 to work Monday through Friday. You're going to be on call every other weekend, blah, blah, blah. And then you read through it and you say, okay, cool. And you make sure they understand that. Now, understand this. You're not getting anything outside of those hours. Nothing. No calls. I'm not carrying a pager. You're not going to be able to email me. Why? Because you guys are not paying me for that. You're going to make that very, very clear. Crystal clear. Because the majority of your peers, you know why they accept shit like that from big hospitals? Because they're in student loan debt. The biggest, 3, 4, $500,000. But they're out there living like a doctor, looking like a pretending to be rich doctors when they're 500, a half $1 million in debt. Now, when they go back to work, they got to be bossed around by the hospitals. You don't think the hospitals check to see how much debt they're in? Hell, they practically they the majority of the hospitals practically invite you to share that information with them. Hey, you come work for us. You know, we'll help pay off your student loan debt. What's the first thing they need to know? How much student loan debt are you in? You come to them, you have about a half $1 million in student loan debt, and then they find out you got a house and you driving a Mercedes or you're driving a brand new Tesla, the top model plaid. They know they own you. They own you. You don't own them. They own you. But you walk in there with no student loan debt? Oh yeah, none of that's happening. None of that. And that goes for any job. I'm just telling you guys, when you're in student loan debt, that's why you guys take shit from your bosses. That's why like when you go to work, this is what happens to people that work in student loan debt. You guys take shit from your bosses, disrespected, call you anytime, disrespect your time, call you when you're not even working, when you're off work, expecting you to clock out and continue to work. That's slavery. Do you understand that? When they tell you to clock out and they expect you to keep on working, that means they're not paying you. That's called physical slavery. That's illegal. If they have you clock out and then expect you to come and continue to work, you got to turn to them and say, wait a minute, I'm not a slave. They're gonna look at you weird because it doesn't matter what color you are, because this happens to everybody in every color. You're gonna turn to them and say, "I'm not a slave." They're gonna have this confused look on their face. They're gonna be like, "I just clocked out. You're expecting me to work for free? Should I record you saying that?" But when you're in student loan debt, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna work for free because you need that job. So you accept the disrespect. You accept it. That's called slavery. Would you say, Gabriel, unemployed, underemployed? Come join Grand Canyon University for a future guarantee. Sure do. Crazy. But you say I keep hearing debt slaves talk about buying, aka financing a house. See? Debt slaves, you guys don't know the definition of buy. That's part of the program too. You guys think buy is financing. That's why they say buying. When you buy something, it's not a verb. You just buy it. You just buy it. Buy is not a verb. Buying is a verb that's doing something. You guys are buying over 30 years. You guys are buying over 84 months. That's why it's like that. But you guys don't know the definition of buy. You cannot buy a house with a mortgage. You can't do that. Buy equals cash. You can't buy a car with a car loan. You can't buy a house with a mortgage. You can't do that. And you can't buy a house while having student loan debt. You can't do that. Seems like you'd study the job market first. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I'm way behind. Sorry about that. Elove says, I'll be looking at my old college pics daily in remembrance of the 4-year party. Right. That you probably was still paying for years after, you know? My sister in debt because never never a new car and still paying a note on hers. Oh, bought her a newer car. Okay. Bought her a newer car and still paying. Oh, and She still pay and she's still saying, "I'm throwing away money on renting an apartment." That's and you gotta remember, Cupcakes, you gotta remember this. When they s this and this is for you, okay? When you clearly hear them saying things that don't make any mathematical sense, you gotta discard it, and you gotta really accept that they're in the debt matrix because they don't know that they're saying things that don't make mathematical sense, right? It you wouldn't blurt out loud and say, "Hey, 1 plus 1 equals 4. 1 plus 1 equals 4," and yell it out loud in public. You wouldn't do that because you know that's not true, right? So you wouldn't do that. So they don't know that they're doing that. That's what they're basically doing. They're saying out loud, they're saying 1 plus 1 equals 4. The wife and kid has got to fit in the timeline. Oh yeah, all that. She bought her son a new car, still making payments on hers. Just and what they're doing, she's passing along debt, the debt mentality through the generations, right? Because the kids are seeing her, they think, now the kids believe the mom really bought them the cars, but the mom is just making payments. So they don't, but to them, they're like, hey, my mom bought me a car when mom didn't buy anything. She's got 3 car payments. The American ego won't allow you to build your way out of the nest. Sure won't. It won't. But I get it. It's supposed to be like that. I'll connect the dot for you, LJ. The Federal Reserve is a private bank. I know that part, and prints money for the world. Its only purpose is to enslave the world. It's a 13 family bloodline, and I do know that part. That part I already know. I'm up to the door to understanding. Okay, it's a private. There's it's families involved in it. I get it. I get that part. I'm talking about connect the dots past that point to actually know, okay, who are the families? Like, I mean, I don't really care. I mean, but it'd be interesting to know, because I want to, honestly, it's not the purpose of telling the world. I just want to say, okay, how did somebody okay, put it this way, to come up with an economy that is both physical and psychological. But the whole thing is psychological. I'm gonna just call it for what it is. Capitalism is psychological. Okay. Somebody had to come up with that. Somebody had to say, hey, we got to figure out how to create an economy where the majority of people are in debt and they don't know that they're in debt at the same time making them believe that they own stuff with no money of their own. Somebody had to come up with that and then put it all together and then come up with stuff to confuse you. And I mean, it's a whole system. You got to train them in school. I mean, I think about it now that I'm out, now that I own myself. Now I think about, I go back into my childhood as a first going to school to kindergarten, and then you just trained. I just remember being trained at that age. Okay, Monday through Friday, weekends off. Okay, I got to do this, I got to learn that, and this and that. But the wonderful thing about the grade school part is it's crazy because I remember in grade school learning about money and math and negative numbers and positive numbers. I remember that, and we had math and money games. But I noticed that after elementary school, those type of math and money games stopped. And I remember saying to my, because I used to love those games. And I remember saying to myself as a young man, I was like, I got to middle school. It was sort of like recess, like when you go from grade school to recess and from grade school to middle school, and they say, okay, no more recess. As a kid crossing over, you're like, no more recess. What the heck? You don't really understand that at the time. But that's how I felt about the math and money games. I was like, how come we don't do those games no more in middle school? Oh, I guess that's just for little kids. Nope, that's because that's all you need to know about the money game. They worship Satan, but they call him Lucifer because they see him as if he never fell from grace. I don't, they, and now that's one thing. When you come out of the debt matrix, you will understand there's going to be limits. You will see, you will be able to see the purpose of things. And where my limit is when it comes to religion. I'm not, and I'm not saying because of you, Heat. I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying religion is where I stop because that's something that you really can't prove ever. So you don't get it. At least what I do, I can prove with mathematics. When you start getting over into that stuff, I'm just like, no, I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole, because that can go on forever. I'll go on like TikTok and you'll see people come across like, hey, I don't believe in God. Make me believe it's not true, or make me believe he exists, or something. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you stop and say, oh man, okay, I'm going to convince you that there is. No, if you don't, you just don't. Okay, then I just move on. He's in debt. His chances of surviving the triple bypass operation are low. Oh, you guys are talking about something else here. Okay, let me see. Wife. Oh, okay. My wife and kids got to fit in. The wife and kids got to fit in. The American Eagle one. Cupcake says, I know she doesn't know what she's saying, Elsa. She doesn't know what she's saying. And and I really want you guys to understand, that the ones that understand what I'm saying, okay? I it's gonna take a lot of work to accept when you know they're caught in the debt matrix. You got to just take a step back, and you gotta say, okay, it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if it's my sister, my mama, my relative, somebody I love very much. The debt matrix doesn't care who it is. If they're in student loan debt too, and they just, they start talking like, oh man, if I waited till I paid off my student loan debt, I'll never be able to get a house. When you start hearing them talk like that, you got to take a step back and say, okay, they're just caught up in the debt matrix. They're not coming out. Because as soon as you hear them talk like that, they're basically saying a few things. They're saying that they're never going to pay off their student loan debt. They really believe they can buy a house while having student loan debt, which also, if they believe they can get a house before paying off their student loan debt, they also believe that they can buy a house with a mortgage, and they can buy a car with a car loan. And it just goes on, and you just got to let them be. They can't see or hear, like, they can't see or hear what I'm talking about. I want you guys to really understand what that means. Even though I'm saying this out loud, it's against the laws of mathematics for them to understand what I'm talking about. Now, I understand that I'm here to help the ones that are wandering around the debt matrix. They know something's wrong, but they can't figure it out. They're like, man, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. It doesn't matter how many jobs I get. It doesn't matter how many loan consolidations I get. It doesn't matter if keep borrowing money from my friend. I still never get ahead. They just can't figure it out. And they just don't know the answer. They don't know who to talk to. And then they're gonna come across this channel. They're gonna be like, that's the answer. And again, you guys are probably thinking, well, how do I know this? Because I know for a fact that I'm changing people's lives, and it's getting faster. You come to this channel, you're probably like, damn, he's not even selling anything. He's not trying to get us to buy anything. He's not constantly hounding us to subscribe. He's doing the exact opposite of damn near everybody on YouTube. You're probably thinking, why is that? He's not worried about our getting us to like his videos. He's not telling us to subscribe every 5 minutes and buy from this other person. He's not trying to make us buy anything. Why is that? Because I know what I'm looking for. This is so you guys can understand what it is. I'm here to earn your trust, and I earn trust by consistency. Once I earn your trust, of course, you guys are going to buy whatever I sell, because you can trust me, because you guys are going to know I have something to offer that millions of people don't. I know that for a fact. Millions of people, millions. Then you think about it, nobody else, there's not another channel like this on YouTube like this one. And then you're gonna look at the follow. You're like, wait a minute. Well, we can't see is how many people subscribe to him. Think, because I take away the things that don't matter, so you guys don't focus on that. You guys think views and subscribers mean something? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean what you think it means. You know how many? Like, look at my views. They're like three, 400. Some are 1,000. Some are up there, but But just think about it. Just think about how hard is it take to get that many views talking about a subject that millions of people don't know about. Now look at the views. Now you look at the views, you're like, wait a minute. You know how long it would take to get 300, 400, 1,000 views on a subject that nobody knows the majority don't know anything about. Now look at the views. Once I earn your trust, that's it. Once I earn your trust, that's it. Linnell is consistent. You go back to the oldest video on that. I'm still the same. But you guys are lucky enough for me to show you and tell you the answer. Capitalism is psychological. That's the answer. That is the answer. That's the answer. No currency at all. No currency exists for debt slaves. None. If you got student loan debt, no currency exists for you. None. Gold, silver, cryptocurrency, nothing. Now you're probably going to hear this. You're probably going to hear this like, what is he talking about? What does he mean? He's nuts. That's crazy. Millions of people, and you just got to say, the only thing I can tell you is this: have you ever not had student loan debt? If you've had student loan debt your entire life, 10, 15 years, of course you don't. Of course you. What you hear me say sounds crazy because you're in student loan debt. That's why it sounds crazy. You don't even see yourself begging for student loan forgiveness. Just begging. Seeing titles like this video and just get you all anxious, start crossing your fingers like you hoping to win the lotto. You might as well play the lotto because that's what's probably going to happen. That's the only time your student loan debt's going to be forgiven if same odds as playing the lottery. Hold on for a second. Now I'm gonna put this link up here for some new people, so you guys in the background, because I know more and more you guys are watching my videos, but maybe you're too shy to ask me questions. But I want you to be honest with yourself. If this is you and you saw the title, this because this title was bouncing all over the internet, $1.7 billion of student loan debt being forgiven. It was bouncing everywhere. And if you were one of the people that were like crossing your fingers, hoping it was you, uh, I hope they get to you. Hey, you need to talk to me. You really do. You need to talk to me. Andre says the space between here and there is as thin as a sheet of paper, but for most, it is as deep as the Grand Canyon sure is. That is very well said for sure. That is exactly right. It's a it's mm, it's something about when you get to zero, that's like I can imagine that's like the thin piece of paper right there, right? Is you're at zero. Okay. The Grand Canyon becomes $100,000 in student loan debt. Now it's good. It's going to take you $100,000 to get to zero. That's the Grand Canyon. And imagine this. Okay, this I'm gonna show you guys how deep the Grand Canyon goes. Okay, say like you have 100,000 in student loan debt. Sorry, my brain is moving faster than my mouth for some reason today. But you have $100,000 in student loan debt, and then you have a $250,000 mortgage. That's like 350 in the hold, right? And then you have a $50,000 car, and then you have three credit cards all maxed out, each one of them $10,000. You see how deep the Grand Canyon goes? Yes. That's how far you are from zero. That's how far you are from zero. Believing believing you own the equity in something that you didn't even have the money to buy. Are you one of those people that believe you have equity while having student loan debt older than your house? Are you one of those people? You have student loan debt older than your house, and you believe you have equity in the house that you didn't have the money to buy because you have student loan debt. Of course you didn't have the money to buy the house because you have student loan debt, but you believe you own the equity in the house that you didn't have money to buy because you have student loan debt. Do you understand? That's the wheel. That's the wheel. What's up? I'm just the alien. One channel I subscribed to, Dave Ramsey advice was too basic to get ahead. I had to unsubscribe. Being financially free isn't complex. It's not. Sure right. I remember I was subscribed to Dave Ramsey for a long time too. I really that was the I mean, thank God for Dave Ramsey. I ain't gonna lie, man. Thank God for Dave Ramsey. He was the only one that kept it basic for me. And then once I took the knowledge that I learned from him and I said, okay, and I just broke it down even further. I broke it down. This is what you guys got to understand. I took what I learned from Dave Ramsey, broke it down further, and figured out the whole capitalism is psychological. Figured it out. What I'm telling you guys right now, I've never heard this in my life that capitalism is psychological. Never in my life, ever. Nobody's ever told me that. But when you understand how first you got to free yourself to ever know this, to ever know for me to ever know that capitalism is psychological, I had to first free myself. I had to get out of debt first to ever know this knowledge that I'm sharing with you guys today. I, w- I- it would have been mathematically impossible for me to ever know that capitalism is psychological by being in debt because you can't know that. Now, I don't really subscribe to Dave no more because it's really just a repetitive same stuff. I understand it's business, right? He's just doing a business, right? So it's not, the people call up, "Hey, Dave, my wife is there." It's just a repetitive over and over because the majority are in debt. His business is endless, and he can use the same things over and over again. He just has to adjust to the times on the only thing that has to adjust is the deliverance of information to debt slaves, right? That changes. Okay. So say like the metaverse is happening now, right? So businesses they have to, and if they're not haven't done already, making their presence in the metaverses because that's where you guys will be. The majority of you guys, while you guys have real student loans out here, the majority of you guys will have goggles on in your fake world. But regardless of whatever the world is supposed to be, whatever you guys are going to be doing, concerts, video, dating, whatever, it doesn't matter. They got to figure out a way to sell to you guys inside the metaverse. And think about it, whoever creates the metaverse and gets the majority of people in their metaverse, can you imagine how much money the makers of that particular metaverse is going to make? Like, let me give an example. Let me give it, and I'm just talking out loud, right? Imagine when Apple makes their metaverse. They already got their loyal, dedicated followers. Of course they're going to join the Appleverse, of course. And if they got the majority of the people, guess how much then the businesses have to pay what Apple wants to get to those people to sell to them. Because you got to pass through whatever paywall they're going to set up. They're going to say, in order to connect with our people inside of our Appleverse, you have to pay this fee to sell to them because that's where they'll be. But it works hand in hand. And in order for the Appleverse to keep making bread, of course, they're going to have to come up with something to allow you guys to pay to sell to the debt slaves. We say, Andre, one more pop to Bitcoin. One more pop pop to Bitcoin before it Drops like a stone. Oh, I see what you're saying. I haven't even looked to see what it's sitting at. I don't even know what it's at. Clarence says, I saw that, and the first thing I thought was, again, with Navient, which is was Sally Mae and pretends to be different. Yep. My question is what Navient did to get in quote trouble to cancel money. Long story short, they was being greedy. Okay, when you step outside the debt matrix, they were already making plenty of money. Okay, now they were just being greedy. They were just you don't you don't have to abuse debt slaves. Like debt slaves, you guys don't know. If you have student loan debt, you have no money. That means everything in your life, whether you know this or not, it doesn't really matter, but you don't have any money to buy anything. Okay. That's a known because you're in debt to them. So they know you don't own anything. Okay. Now, when you start taking advantage, if they let it get too bad, you guys are going to wake up and say, hey, wait a minute. If you guys are stacking on student loan debt this fast and I get debt that quick, I'm never going to get out. And then you guys will wake up, be like, whoa, wait a minute. That's not fair at all. But if they do it they got to keep it at a moderate pace. So you guys don't know. You guys won't notice. They already know probably 90% of you don't even want to know exactly how much student loan debt you have. You guys don't even want to know. Scared to look. How do I know this? How do I know you guys are doing that? Because that's what I did. I was making six figures, scared to look at my total student loan debts, making six figures. That sounds today when I say that out loud, that sounds so crazy to me. So crazy. Making six figures, scared to look at my student loan debt. I remember I was doing just like everybody else. Hey, let me go ahead and pay an extra $100 towards the student loan debt without even contacting them. Not even asked, not even wondering anything. I just did it on my own. And I remember one time I did it for a year. I dropped the extra 100 on the payment thinking it would go down. So, and then one day I decided I got the courage enough to open my student loan debt paper that comes in I forgot, I think it comes every month. I'm not sure if they still do that or not. But anyway, I opened it up and I noticed that the balance barely moved after years worth of extra payments. So I called them up. I said, "Hey, I've been paying my payment, and I'm just throwing this out there because I can't remember. Said like my payment was $300 a month, and I was paying four. So I called them up. I said, "Hey, man, I've been paying my regular payment and $100 on top. Why is my balance not going down?" You know what she said to me? She said, "Oh, we've been applying that to interest." I said, "Interest? Why would you apply it to interest? That doesn't make any sense." She said, well, when you want us to apply it to principal, you got to call us and tell us that you want to apply it to principal." I said, "Who in the world would pay extra money to go pay towards interest?" They said, "Sorry, sir, that's just the way we do things. Now that you're called and told us this, now we'll know what to do." And that's what they did. Now, the dead giveaway, if this is you, and I'm gonna tell you guys this, and you should. This is how to tell if they're applying your extra payments to principal. When you finally open up the letter and you see that your payment is not due for maybe a month or two from now, say like you've been paying extra on your student loan payments for like 6 months or whatever, right? And then you finally open up the letter and you see your normal payment. It says it's this, but they say you don't have to pay it for another 3 or 4 months. That means they're applying your money to interest. And in my opinion, this is what I believe it is because I always look for the things that don't make sense. It's like when I called up and she said, "Oh, you have to call us and tell us that you want the extra money to be applied to the principal and not the interest. You have to call." That didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, why would anybody do that? You got to be an idiot to do that, right? But he said, "Okay, but we're going to do this now." I said, "Do I get any of that money back for the year?" They were like, "Nope." I said, "Huh, okay." And this is why I believe it's done. This is just my opinion. I remember looking at my 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 payment bill that came in, and it said Oh, well, this is not due for, a few months because I was ahead because I was paying extra. So they said I was ahead. So I looked at it as just in case if I run into some hard times or even and maybe I wanted to go on a vacation that following month and I knew I would have extra money because I didn't have a student loan payment because I was ahead. That's exactly what it's for those things. Because that's how I was looking at it. I said at first, when I saw it the first couple of times, I said to myself, I'm not going to really say anything because that might help me out just in case if I have a rough month. That's what I said to myself. And that's exactly what I was supposed to think. That's exactly what I was supposed to think until I woke up and said, hey, wait a minute. That's wrong. That was wrong. That was a dead giveaway because if you're paying the monthly amount and you're paying extra, the next bill that comes is just going to be the normal bill minus $100 off the principal, and you still got the next. But if it's coming and say, "Oh yeah, but this payment ain't due for another 2 or 3 months," you're like, "Oh, they're applying my extra payments to principal to interest." You better call them and stop that ASAP. If you ever want to get out of student loan debt and stop begging, stop being suckered in by these titles and all that stuff, man. Crossing your fingers, hoping the president wipes away, cancels student loan debt, or takes off some, or whatever. If that's you, jumping in groups and stuff, and these groups of hey, let's not pay our student loan payments. Let's all do it together. You better stop doing that. That's all part of the plan. Get people to believe that they can just somehow collaborate to not pay their student loan debt, and somehow that's going to trigger them to cancel student loan debt. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're just becoming slaves longer than what they anticipated to be. They're just digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole without even knowing it. Once you Let's put it this way so you guys can really understand. Once the right person hears me, it's just I want you guys, the non-believers, I just want you guys to understand it's just a matter of time. I know I have a gift. It's just a matter of time of the right person or people to hear me, and then that's it. Then you're going to come back and listen to all the videos that I've already been saying this out loud. I don't know if you guys noticed, like in the community area, like when I do my comments now, at the end of every comment, I'll say, this statement will be valid no matter the year it's read. And you guys probably look at that and think, why does he say that at the end of every statement? Because I'm just telling you guys this right now. 20 years from now, those statements will be valid, no matter what year it is, 2040, 2045, 2060. Every statement will be valid all the way well after I'm dead. Know why they will be valid? Because it has to be that way. Forever. It has to be that way. It has to be. Those who get their loan forgiven will likely just go deeper in debt, upgrade the finance car, finance home more exactly. It's all the same. The people that were out of those 66,000, the people that will actually get their whole thing canceled, they're going to immediately believe that now they have more money at the end of the month, and then they're just going to go finance a bigger house or better car. And now they can afford to upgrade their car. They're going to go from a $30,000 car to a $60,000 car. That's all they're going to do. Apple's Metaverse, war games against Amazon or Sony. Yep, they're going to, man, Clarence, I'm telling you, man, they're going to have, it's unlimited. You guys just really don't understand how this is going to, and I keep telling S&D family members right now, I'm going to tell you guys right now, we are going to be part of all those metaverses. You know why? Because they're all going to be based on capitalism. It doesn't matter, like in the it doesn't matter what metaverse these people go to in the real world. Guess what? They'll still be in student loan debt for real. So it won't matter what they're doing in there. It won't matter because in the real world, they're still debt slaves. They're just debt slaves in a virtual meta. They're in, they're debt slaves in a virtual universe now. This is the debt matrix. There is called the debtiverse. Think of think of the world that's wrapped around. Think of Earth wrapped around all the metaverses inside that will be built inside of there, and Earth is wrapped around that. Well, no, there's a no. That's got to be virtual because Earth is real. So imagine that there's a world that looks like Earth, but it's called the Debtiverse. It's not called Earth. It's called the Debtiverse, and it's the world wrapped around all the metaverses that will be created in there because they will all be based on psychological capitalism. But that psychological capitalism will be virtual. But I guess it won't matter. It's all psychological. So I guess you could still, I guess it still would fall under psychological capitalism, regardless if it's real or virtually. Gabriel says, but LJ, the calculator can say whatever it wants to say. You're still wrong. I know. You guys need to, hey man, you guys need to catch me over there on TikTok, SMD on TikTok. Okay, SMD on TikTok. Let me put that banner up there because you guys, woo, you guys will have a ball over there. I'm telling you. You guys will have a ball. Let me see. Savings minus debt. TikTok. Savings minus debt. Okay, you guys definitely need to catch me. Go to Savings Minus Debt on TikTok. Man, it's a. I was over there just the other day, man. I was looking around some finance things, and I came across this financial advisor guy in Canada, and he said something like, "Hey, if you came across a financial advisor, what's the first thing you would say, or whatever, something like that." And I said to him, I said the first thing I would ask for my financial advisor if I could see his personal credit report. This guy blew up. He was like, "Oh my God, that is so rude. Why would you dare ask that? If I had somebody come into my office and ask me that question, I would immediately ask him to leave my office." And I said to him, I said, "Well, if I came into your office and asked you that question and you told me to leave, that would have answered my question for me. Because I said, those of us that know. So if you asked me to leave, that would have told me everything I needed to know. Oh yeah, you're in personal debt because you told me to leave." Cupcake says, alien. My cousin and her husband paid off their house 7 years ago, and that's all they do is buy new cars. Alien, my cousin. When you say buy new cars, you mean in cash? Is that what you mean by buy? My cousin paid off their house 7 years ago. Are you saying they're financing new cars? Because there's ways. It's like, now don't get me wrong. There's a way to, for example, if you're not, you don't put a car in your name, right? And you financing cars, but you're not financing your cars in your name. They're financing the business name. That's different. Okay, that's very different because you got to remember the difference between per, personal debt and business debt. Okay, personal debt you pay back. Business debt your customers pay back. Okay, I'm gonna say that one more time. The difference between personal debt and business debt. Personal debt you pay back. Business debt your customers pay back. Okay. And first, and you got to go a little bit deeper. If the business of you is in personal debt, the business of you, that's where you need to start. You can't be in business outside of you if you don't own the business of yourself first. Okay. Always remember that. The business of you will the business outside of you will will reflect the business of you. Okay. The business outside of you will reflect the business of you. Sometimes I gotta like re-engineer it. I gotta slow down sometimes to try to reverse engineer it to you. Anyway, I think that's about it. That's how much I'm gonna be blabbing on tonight here. Let's see here. As always, like I said, thank you for joining. Much appreciated. Here is there's my Cash App. And if you want to schedule an appointment with me, there's my email, savingsminusdebt@gmail.com. I'll start saying it out loud because I forget some people listen to me as they drive. So my email is savingsminusdebt@gmail.com. My Cash App is the $ savings minus debt. Okay. And you can please don't forget to subscribe if you really enjoyed the show or the shows. You can find me on Instagram at Savings Minus Debt. You can find me on TikTok at Savings Minus Debt. You can find me on Facebook at Savings Minus Debt. Okay. What's up, Kang? Hello, hello. Cupcake says, the husband gets older cars in cash. The lady gets leased cars, all personal. They have no business. Yeah. Yeah. She gotta if she's doing it under her name, she gotta stop leasing cars. And that surprised me when I hear a person pay off their house and then they start leasing cars. I mean, I'm not if you gotta pay it off house, you obviously know what it takes to pay off a house, but so I'm not gonna say it's totally bad what she's probably doing. Okay. I'm not gonna say it's bad, totally bad, because it takes you got to be pretty smart and good to pay off your house. Okay, you got to buckle down, and unless somebody paid it off for them, or if they worked hard and did it, they probably got something in there that they're doing to getting it to probably reduced, probably not paying as much payments. Maybe they're paying half the payment. Who knows for a newer car? I kind of get it. And he's paying older cars in cash. It's not like they don't have the money. They got to pay it off house. That means they don't have no rent or mortgage. So that's like it counts what kind of house they got, you know. I didn't know before I go, I did that brings up a point I'm starting to see down here in South Carolina. It's like I'm starting to see these neighborhoods of houses being put up. Now, not it's not like not like all the other houses, like big houses put into these small these are like small houses. I'm not gonna say many houses, but they're small. Okay. And they're going onto the same lots as other house, but as the other houses, but there's there's way more to put in here because they're tinier. But you can't buy these are leased. Because I drove by there, I was like, why would anybody buy a house that small and that close to the next house? I was driving by these neighborhoods. I was like, that is dumb. Why would you pay for that? And then I drove in there and they said, you only can lease these. So what they're doing, they're kind of like doing an in between thing. It's not an apartment, but it's also not a big ass house either. It's right in between. So you're still like, it's going to give people the illusion that they are separate, but they're not, because they're going to be in a smaller tiny house. And I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, these things are close to each other. Worse, it's way worse than the housing developments that are put in lots close. These are worse, and it's a lot of them. And I was thinking, I was like, nobody's buying them. Oh, you only can lease these. I was like, got it. Okay, I see what you guys are doing. Gotcha. You're giving them the illusion of not living in an apartment, but not quite living in a big house either. But regardless if they're leasing them, the people that are gonna lease them, they're gonna feel like they own something or they live in a separate dwelling. They're not connected any, but what you really are, because it's pretty damn close. Because they're still gonna have rules. You better believe those, just like HOAs. It's this is going to be no different than it's going to be a it's going to be a mixture of a HOA and a housing manager thing, because they're probably going to make them pay some kind of something similar to a HOA fee, but it's not going to be a HOA fee because they're going to be leasing these little small places. They're going to come up with something. I know they are. They're going to come up with something and tell you what you can and cannot do. You're going to have your garbage a certain way. It's going to have the house is going to, who knows? There's going to be a ton of things in there. Oh, husband want a oh, gotcha. Okay. That's different. Okay, that's very different because it's something different when you work hard and pay off your house. Because when you said leased, they paid off their house and then she had a lease car. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense because in order to pay your house off, you can't have car payments. And then you get to the point to pay off your house, and then as soon as you pay off your house, you go get a car payment. That doesn't make sense, right? That's just like backwards, right? You would never do that. And so when I saw you say that, I was like, something's weird. How did they pay off the house? And lo and behold, they got a settlement. I mean, they did the right move. Don't get me wrong, they did the right move, but at the same time, they're probably validating, hey, we don't have a house payment. That means we can get a car payment. They have a nice 3-bedroom house in a rural area of town. Yep. Nice. They don't know that they're ahead because the settlement is what paid off the house. That's why they don't know. I know it sounds I know it sounds weird. Yeah, you're right, Andre. Right there. Andre said it correctly. If you didn't earn it, you can't keep it. It's just it's a psychological thing. It's something about, and I'm gonna tell you guys that don't believe you can pay off your student loan debt and you never will. The only thing I can tell you is this. It's something about when you pay that student loan debt off and you finally pay off that last check, and then it's just gone. And I mean, it's gone forever. It's never coming back ever, unless you go back to school and take out some more student loan debt to upgrade it, which you will never do that. You will never do that. You'll figure it out. You'll figure out how to survive without college education. You will figure it out. I promise you. It's something about that, the pain of paying it off, just and yeah, I just don't know how to describe it. You feel the check every time you hand the check over to every time I hand the check over to the payment place. I was just the middleman. I was just logging into my account. As soon as I seen the numbers go up into my checking account from my job doing direct deposit, I see the numbers go down when I sent it off to the student loan place. But until the final day where it's like no more. And the last thing I would ever do is go finance a car because I don't have a car. I don't have a student loan payment no more. Mm. But a lot of people, I know a lot of you guys are scared to feel that kind of pain. I get it. I do. I do. You look at that number. Some of you don't even know how much it is. Some of you, and there's multiple layers to this. People don't really understand the psychological part behind it. Some of you don't even want to know how much student loan debt you're in, let alone ever pay it off. You don't even know how much you don't even know how much you're in. You don't even want to know. That's that's a large hurdle within itself to actually knowing how much student loan debt you have. Then once you know, then you can get started. That's scary. I get it. I totally get it. You don't want to open that letter or open that email that you get from the student loan place. That's the last thing you want to see. I totally get it, but that's one of the hurdles you got to get over. You have to face that because it's not going anywhere. That number is going to get bigger and bigger. And I'm 52. And I'm telling you, when you're in your 20s, I'm telling you, you guys, there are people that were in their 20s that are my age, 52, with still student loan debt from their 20s. Now, if you're in your 20s now and you have your student loan debt, I promise you that's a pinch in the bucket. Work on it now. You start working on it now. You do whatever it takes. You guys got a whole bunch of opportunities. You guys can drive Uber every day, deliver food, deliver fast food. You guys have so many options to earn money as fast as you can. You give every dime to that student loan debt and make sure you hire a person who is debt free to do your taxes along the way. You understand? You hire a person who is personally debt free, a tax person, to do your taxes along the way when you're working for yourself. You say, hey, you have all your check stubs, everything in order. You give it to them and say, you say it's SMD. He told me to hire you because you were debt free and you will be able to see something that other tax advisor, tax professionals won't be able to see. That's what he told me. He said, you have to be, you said, you are man or woman, you are debt free, you will understand. Then you get out there and you work your ass off. 1099, you don't have to know anything about taxes. You just make sure you keep everything and hand them to that person. When that person asks for, hey, it's time, you give them all your records. You concentrate. I don't care, especially if that person has that tax professional has no personal debt. Their prices are probably going to be a little bit higher, but it's worth it. It'll be worth it. I promise you, it'll be worth it. You tell them I said that too. It'll be worth it. And all you do is concentrate on making that money. Working for yourself, 1099, delivering food, whatever. It don't matter. You just keep doing it. Because a lot of these people that are doing these jobs right now, they're not keeping up with their taxes. That's a no-no. You can't do that. You can't become rich, wealthy if you're not paying attention to taxes. You can't do that. Oh 30 says a negative net worth versus positive net worth. Big difference. Sure is. Totally big difference. I've noticed companies are now paying for college tuition just to for you know what I think, Gabriel? It's all about the companies getting them to tell them how much student loan debt they're in. Because soon as that job finds out how much student loan debt they're in, they're going to just abuse them, work them over, make them work overtime, off the clock, anytime they want, answer the phones around the clock, all that. Companies are considering paying student loans instead of 401k match. Oh man, and I wonder what kind of tax break they're gonna get from that. I can only imagine the tax breaks they're gonna get. Mm. All the while knowing that if you don't plan on paying that, listen, if you know you get a job and you know for a fact that your job is paying towards your student loan debt, if you're not doing the same thing at the same time, it doesn't matter what they're paying. It doesn't matter what they're paying, but if you decide to make up in your mind that you're going to do it at the same time the job that you're working for is also paying it, you better do that. You can get out of it twice as fast. But you better believe the job, the employer, they're getting a tax break. They're getting something. They're not. This is business. They're not doing it because they care and hope you get out of student loan debt. This is business. If you don't want to get out of student loan debt, that's your problem. Thumbs up. Love it. Taxes are the source of wealth for sure. You have to understand taxes to even become wealthy. Do you guys got to understand? You understand that? In order to become wealthy, you have to understand taxes. You have to understand taxes. You have to. There is no way around it. You have to understand them. And when I say understand them, I mean like this. I understand that I have to hire a tax professional who is personally debt free to understand taxes in a way I need them to understand taxes. You're probably thinking, well, Linnell, they're the tax professional, not you. That part I can't really explain to you, okay? There's a certain way I need a tax professional to understand taxes. I know for a fact, I know what I'm talking about. The tax professional who is personally debt free will know the details of what I'm talking about. They will know the intricate details of what I need to do, who I need to do with. I don't know. They'll just know all that stuff. I'll just pay them to do it for me. They're just going to tell me what they need from me, and I'm going to provide them the information, and it's going to be done. Whatever their price is, they're going to get me back triple. Built-in student loan forgiveness program. You better believe that. Cass isn't just king, it's freedom. Exactly. You are saying things right on the money. He's clearly speaking. Debt free, clearly speaking it. Clearly. It is most definitely freedom. Never really seen a company pay for employee student. Oh no, that's gonna be new. That's something new. That's all new. That hasn't started yet. You said, yes, I am buying cash now. Okay, that's encrypted. What you doing? I don't know what you mean by that. You're always talking. Sometimes Andre comes on here and says something encrypted, and then we got to figure it out. Like a riddle, sort of like a riddle, but a riddle for people that can hear. I know you guys, okay, this is what you guys don't understand. He's telling a riddle. It's something that you guys don't know that's true, and he's telling a riddle within that thing that you guys don't know exists. Do you guys understand? You guys get that? Or is that a little confusing? There's something that you guys don't know exists, and he's telling a riddle within that's something that you guys don't know exists. Yeah, if you pay for student loan debt, you get credits, which is better than write-offs. Yeah, if you pay for student loan, you get credits. You pay taxes, I receive taxes. Exactly. You know what? I'm gonna just tell you that before I get off, and I've been saying I'm gonna get off quite a few times now. It's something about discovering such a gift that capitalism is psychological. It's almost like eh, Christmas every day. Uh, just when I go around in public, the energy is different. People know I'm different by my energy. They just don't. Like, for example, like right now, things are very tense because of the economy, what's going on, you know. So people are still in debt during these times, right? So there's a certain type of energy, a negative energy that's coming off of people a lot. Well, I don't have any of that. I don't have none of that stress. I don't think about stuff like that. So I'm giving off an energy that is opposite of the majority. So people don't really understand, like when I go out in public, people are always talking to me, always want to talk to me, always trying to talk to me about something. And I know why they're doing that because my energy is opposite than the majority, and they're trying to figure out, well, what's different about this dude. I don't have no. I'm not stressed. I don't have no stress. I don't have debt. I'm not worried every day. I don't worry about how my bills are going to get paid. I just don't. None of that is in my life. So there's a different type of energy that comes off of me that attracts people to me. Well, and I'm just telling you guys something. I'm not here to convince you of anything or make you believe it or thinking I'm some kind of witchcraft. I'm just telling you something that is true. It is just like me and Andre have been saying this a long time. It's a superpower. Literally, it's like I feel like Superman. I feel like I can do anything. There are no limits. And I was saying this in the community. I want you guys to understand what the real significance of like superhero movies and superhero characters. They're there to show you something. They're not. They're showing you a psychological image. Now, if you remove the things that are physically impossible, flying, shooting webs, shooting lasers from your eyes, that's movies. You got to eliminate that and say, okay, that's not true. That nobody can physically do that. So you got to and say, oh, okay, that's graphics. That's just movies. You can't do that. But all the other stuff that it's just to represent of people that have found their gift. Uh, Once you find your gift, you believe in yourself, and your your self confidence goes through the roof. When you own yourself, it's just different. It's different. You can't. You really. I don't know. I just feel like Superman. I know for a fact, I know something that millions of people don't know. Uh, you can't see it. You gotta earn it. It's bananas. SMD forever for it forever. I'm not saying this to say SMD is a cult. I'm just saying something. Once you cross over here, there is no going back. You're not going back. You're not gonna wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm gonna be a debt slave again. You're not gonna do that. B Dean, I know. I know. They can't hear you, LJ. What you're saying is not real. I know. And also, BD, I understand this. I understand that it has to be that way. See you later, Andre. I'm about to get off myself too, man. Good night. See you guys Sunday. But see you Sunday. But like I said, BD, I'm here to help the people that are walking around in a debt matrix that know something's wrong, knowing they're not able to find the answers anywhere else. And here comes this one channel that is different than every other channel on YouTube, every other personal finance channel on any platform, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and any other one that's out there is different from all of them. When they come and it takes a while. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that come across here and say, man, I've been listening to you for like 2 years before I even open my mouth to say anything to you. I get it. It's a hard reality to accept. It is taking the financial red pill. The people in the debt matrix, they take the blue pill. And I'm gonna end it with this so you can so I can kind of like put it two together with the Matrix movie. When you believe you own a house with a 30-year mortgage, you believe you own a house, you believe you own a car with an 84-month car loan, you believe you own a house with a mortgage with student loan debt older than, and your student loan debt is your oldest debt out of all your debts. You have taken the financial blue pill because everything you believe in is not mathematically true. And if it's not mathematically true, it's psychological. That means you have taken the blue pill. By taking the red pill, that makes you look around the house you're living in. You have to accept that it's not yours. That's taking the red pill. You have to accept that you all the while having a mortgage and student loan debt, you have been putting away for retirement. You've been contributing to your retirement plan, Roth IRA, a 401k. And you have to accept by taking the red pill, you have to accept that you haven't been doing that because you can't do that. You can't do any of that with with student loan debt and a house. You can't do that. You have to accept that as many times as you refinanced your home to pull out the equity, all you were doing was taking on additional loans, nothing else. You wasn't pulling out anything from anywhere. That's the financial red pill. You have to say none of that was real. Nope. That's a don't get me wrong. That's a really, especially if you've been in a house for like 20 years making payments and you take the financial red pill and you realize not only are you not a homeowner, all that money you put in is gone. Unless you sell at the right time. Okay, I'm not gonna say totally gone. And it counts on how many times you refinance your house. Because you guys don't, and damn, I keep going on and on. But When you hear somebody say, "Hey, man, the housing market went up and I sold it at the high time and I had equity of $200,000." So say like they bought it at 300,000, right? And then they sold it at 500,000 and then they'll tell you that they earned $200,000 equity. But what they don't know is what they're not telling you is how many times did they refinance their house before selling? How did they buy the house? With a mortgage? Okay, you can't buy a house with a mortgage. You can't do that. You guys don't know that. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Clarence says LJ got the Batman superpower money, and LJ got that Batman superpower money and how to make it work for himself. You know, it's I don't even look at money like that. This is how I look at money. I know the majority have none, no currency. No currency exists for debt slaves in any form. When you look at like Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin on like Google, you'll Google and say, "Hey, what's Bitcoin?" It doesn't matter because they're in the negative. It doesn't matter what Bitcoin is doing. They have no money to buy any Bitcoin. None. Debt-free life forever. Well, you guys have a good night. It's going on 11 o'clock. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Until next time. Yeah, exactly. Money doesn't matter. People do. None of this could work without debt slaves. None of it. That's what's lovely about psychological capitalism. None of it works without you. None of it works. No, I take that back. None of it works without us, people. People consume, people. You guys consume. Us, we do. Only people consume. I don't care how many robots they build. Robots don't consume. People do. Hope you guys understand what I said right there. None of it works without us. It counts on which side you're going to be on. You can be on the wrong side, which is the debt matrix, people that don't believe in the calculator, or you can be on the right side, the people that do trust the calculator and understand when it comes to money, you never ever break the laws of mathematics.